Hey there, welcome in. Hope you're ready for a real deep dive today. We've got um, something special lined up for you. This one's all about the Houston artist Bob Camblin,
Oh, yeah, Camlin.
but specifically, we're going to be focusing on this one painting of his, 1401 West Gray.
Intriguing title. And to really get into it, you've given me some great stuff to work with.
Yeah, I figured, go all in, right?
Absolutely. So we've got, let's see, a YouTube transcript. Looks like it breaks down 1401 West Gray pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
Then there's some of Camlin's own thoughts and quotes. Always interesting to hear an artist in their own words, right?
For sure. And of course, his biography.
Tracing that artistic journey. Love that.
Yeah, plus I threw in some excerpts from some books that feature his work and some writings about his art too.
Excellent. Sounds like we've got all the angles covered then.
That's the idea. So today, our mission, should we choose to accept it,
Oh.
is to really unpack 1401 West Gray, like
Right.
all its layers, see how it connects to Camblin's style, his philosophy on art, and just try to understand this fascinating and sometimes, kind of puzzling artist a bit better.
Puzzles are good. I like a good puzzle.
Me too, me too. So to start, let's really take a good look at this painting.
All right, so the YouTube transcript, good place to start. It describes, what you actually see in 1401 West Gray. And right away you get this sense of like familiarity. You see a house, right? Something we all recognize.
Right.
But it's not quite right, is it? There's something off about it. And then this sky, really dramatic, turbulent even.
Yeah, yeah. The transcript called it a dreamlike fusion of real and surreal, which I gotta say, I think that's pretty accurate.
Oh, absolutely. And then you've got these elements that are just, well, they're almost out of place. Like there's this piece of a credit card just floating there.
Oh yeah, they described it as an ominous token of modern life.
Hmm. Interesting choice of words.
And this is what really got me. There's this photograph on a telephone pole in the painting, but it shows a totally different street scene.
Oh, wow. So it's like a mirror reflecting a different reality.
Yeah, exactly. Like a crack in reality right there on the canvas. What do you think Camblin's doing at that?
Well, I think that photograph, it's key to understanding his whole approach because right away you think you're looking at one scene, this house, and then boom, different reality. Makes you question what's really there, what's just an image.
Definitely. And there are even more layers to it. Apparently, if you look close, there's a reference to those ox herding pictures in one of the windows of the house.
Oh, the Zen Buddhist one?
Yep, those. And then the mailbox in the foreground has got some kind of cryptic text on it, like maybe a date. Adds to this feeling that there's more to the story, something hidden.
Oh, I love that. A mystery to unravel. For those not familiar, the ox herding pictures, they're these, well, iconic images in Zen Buddhism. They show the stages of enlightenment, like the herder's journey to find and tame an ox.
Right. Yeah.
So by including that, it's like Camlin saying, "Hey, this house, it's not just a house. It's part of a larger journey, an inner one." And that text on the mailbox, that just adds to the intrigue, doesn't it?
Totally. Which makes me think about the whole idea of home in Zen philosophy. The transcript mentioned it, that it's not, a fixed place, more like a state of being, kind of the ox herder's path to enlightenment. Right?
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting connection. So the house, we see it and we think stability, permanence, but around it, you've got all these elements that are, well, they're not permanent at all.
The sky, the credit card.
Exactly. It's like Camlin's playing with our expectations. And that
Kind of.
photograph, right, it reinforces this idea that, well, maybe our perception of reality, that's not as solid as we think.
And there's that mention of hexagram 56 from the I Ching, the Wanderer. It's about being in transition.
Ah, between states, not quite here, not quite there.
Yeah. So the house, it could be like a temporary shelter, a point to anchor to, but then you've got the credit card just floating there. And even the mention of Tina Nog, that mythical Celtic land, all this movement, a sense of impermanence. What do you make of that?
I think it highlights that tension between, wanting stability and knowing that everything changes. We seek out anchors in our lives, right? Places, relationships, routines. But Camlin's suggesting maybe that those are just stops on the road. The wanderer can't get too attached.
Right.
Makes you think about what anchors you might have that are maybe holding you back from seeing things in a new way.
And then there's this idea from El Su about space defined by emptiness.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that.
The transcript connected it to the painting, which I thought was really cool. Because a house, it's not just the walls, right? It's the empty space inside that makes it useful, that gives it purpose.
So 1401 West Gray is both solid and well, sort of ethereal. It's got all these symbolic elements woven into it.
Absolutely. And that ties into this Taoist idea of reality always changing, always flowing. Even though we see a specific house, there's this feeling that it's also like moving through these mythical places, multiple realities all in one image.
That's such a Camblin thing to do, isn't it? You get the ordinary, the house, the street, but then these totally surreal elements, kind of like our own lives, I guess. We have the everyday stuff, but then these moments of, well, deeper understanding, these weird coincidences.
Yeah, totally. And he puts them right next to each other, the credit card, that very modern symbol, and then this ancient wisdom in those ox-herding pictures.
And the painting doesn't give you any easy answers, does it? It creates this tension, this space for you to question things. The house should be stable, but it's surrounded by these floating, fragmented symbols. The inner journey butting up against the pressures of, well, the credit card, modern life. The analysis called it controlled chaos, and I think that's a great way to put it. It all creates something new, something meaningful.
It really makes you wonder about Camblin himself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like how much of him is in this painting? The analysis compared it to Rembrandt's self-portraits. But instead of just showing his face, Camblin's using these symbols, the window like an eye, the credit card, those societal pressures, the photograph, showing a different perspective.
It's like he's examining his own place in the world, but in this very indirect way. The house becomes more than just a house. It's a place of reflection, of history, but also of change, of movement.
Like a riddle, almost.
Yeah.
It's a house, but it's also a memory, a collection of opposites. Home and exile, the personal and the universal, real and illusory.
And going back to that ox herding journey, it says that home isn't about a specific place. It's about this constant exploration, figuring yourself out.
So when you look at this painting, you can't help but ask yourself, what is home to me? What do I think is real? What's actually changing all the time? What's fixed? And what could transform if I just shifted my view a little? It's about seeing the everyday with fresh eyes. But let's dive into Camblin's own words now. I mean, his quotes they're really something.
Oh, yeah. The biography wasn't kidding when it called him iconoclastic and enigmatic. And reading his quotes, you really get a sense of that. Like, take this one. Fortunately, some things remain forever, or another 10 years, perhaps.
Ah, yeah. Classic Camblin, right? Gets you thinking about impermanence right away.
Totally. And this one, look into the atom, you get what you need. Look into magic, and you get what you need. Philosophy and art are in both. Multiple ways of seeing the world, blurring those lines between science and magic.
Blurring lines, that seems to be a recurring theme with him.
Definitely. And then there's this gem. I will stick with common sense and try for the perfectly average view of the universe. I think that will let me enjoy miracles on both sides of science and magic, and the nuances, the smear between the whiteness and the blackness, and hope that I can be around when the two meet in the near future and we have an intensely bright gray.
Wow.
It's like he's not afraid of those gray areas, those in-between spaces. And he sees the limitations of just, black and white thinking.
Yeah, he wants to explore those edges, those places where things get a little fuzzy. And then this one really resonated with me. Art is not just images. Art for art's sake has become art for life's sake, or art for my sake, or art for survival's sake.
Oh, that's a good one. Art as essential, as something vital, not just decorative.
Exactly. And this one, I think, speaks to the layers in his work. Step off the train of thought to find the power that is no power, to do the work that is not work, to laugh the true laugh. Bending is not bowing. Like, challenging how we usually think, right? Maybe true understanding comes from somewhere else.
Somewhere more intuitive, less structured. And speaking of challenging thought, the review of The Art of Everything, it highlighted these phrases of his: a trap that does not trap, a structure that stands but does not move, a disappearing object that was never meant to be lost.
Oh, that's perfect for 1401 West Gray, isn't it? That house, it's familiar, but there's something off about it, something unexpected.
Totally. And they called his drawings paradoxes made visible, blueprints for ideas. All those themes we've been talking about, illusion, impermanence, traps, that sense of stillness, they're all there.
And this idea that Camblin saw art as questions disguised as images, that explains so much about 1401 West Gray. It's not giving you answers, it's making you ask the questions.
Right, it wants you to engage, to dig deeper. He also believed in seeing, not just looking, and that words, well, they can't always capture the experience of art, which maybe that explains those cryptic elements in his work. You feel like there's meaning there, but you can't quite grasp it.
And his use of what he called data problems and traps to make the viewer really work for it. It's like he's saying, I'm not just going to hand it to you. You got to put in the effort.
Engaging the mind as much as the eye. And while his work might seem surrealist at first glance, it's different. He's not just about the unexpected, he's genuinely interested in the otherworldly, like those imaginative realities, they're real to him. And that comes through in 1401 West Gray, with that Houston studio somehow also being in Tir na Nog.
Yeah, yeah. And in the end, it seems like Camblin really believed in the viewer's role in creating meaning. Like those surprises, the things that don't quite make sense. He's inviting us to figure it out, to be part of the process.
Yeah.
But let's talk about his life now. I mean, his experiences must have shaped his art, right?
Oh, absolutely. And his biography is, well, it's quite a journey. He had this solid art education, the Kansas City Art Institute, then a Fulbright to Italy. That must have been incredible.
Talk about formative experiences.
Oh, hi.
And he taught for a while, too, at Rice, right here in Houston.
But then in 76, he walks away from it all, becomes this nomadic artist, traveling, selling his work, finding inspiration everywhere.
Wow, that takes guts, doesn't it? to trust your art that much.
Real dedication, for sure. And his time in Houston, that was key. Being part of the art scene here, collaborating with people like Earl Staley and Joe Tate, they were real boundary pushers.
Oh, yeah, they didn't fit in any neat little box.
Yeah.
And get this, Camblin often signed his work anonymous or even anonymous artists.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like rejecting that whole idea of the individual artist, the ego. It was about the art itself, not about him.
That's really interesting. And his Mouches Volantes style from the 80s, all those dots and dashes creating these optical illusions.
Oh, yeah, it's like reality shimmering, shifting right in front of you.
Exactly. It really reflects that whole theme of illusion and reality that we see in 1401 West Gray.
The biography also has some great quotes from people who knew him. Like, Pete Gershon called him a mystical trickster figure.
Huh. That's perfect, isn't it? Given how playful, how enigmatic his art is.
And George Jackson Jr., he said he could read Camblin's art like a book. Which, yeah, after everything we've talked about, it makes sense.
Totally. And Earl Staley, he said he learned how to draw and paint from Camblin. That's high praise coming from a fellow artist.
For sure. And then Penny Zerling said that Camblin questioned everything and everybody. Like, that was just his nature, to be curious, to challenge things.
And Staley talked about their shared studio, B&E Productions, and some of their shows. They even did this tattoo show way before tattoos were, everywhere. And then there was the holding firm doing these unauthorized construction projects.
They sound like they were a lot of fun, breaking the rules, pushing boundaries. But later on, Camblin became even more nomadic, moved to Oregon, then Louisiana. And there's this feeling of mystery around his later work, like he was withdrawing from the art world a bit.
Choosing his own path, as always. So as we wrap this up, I think it's safe to say 1401 West Gray, it's a masterpiece of sorts. It's got all of Camblin's ideas in it. This fluid idea of home, the questioning of reality, the impermanence of everything, and us, the viewers, having to actively make sense of it.
And when you take all that, plus his life, his journey, challenging conventions, embracing the paradox, that nomadic spirit, you really appreciate how complex, how powerful his vision was.
It all comes back to questioning what we think we know, looking beyond the surface, like that ox herding journey, ending up back where you started, but seeing it with new eyes.
And here's a final thought for you. Think of something ordinary in your life, your house, your street, anything. What if you looked at it the way Camblin would? What hidden meanings would you find? What questions disguised as images are right there in front of you? Maybe take some time today, go outside, and really see your world with that Camblin-esque curiosity.